Okay, so this is going to be our next plate. So this is the plate where we have the add-ons added on or modeled and added to the object. Okay, so as you can see, the add-ons are precisely positioned on to my main model, which is the gun. Now, I'll show you how to do this for our next plate. So I'll just close this, don't save that, and then I'll go to my Maya and open plate number 3. Of course, I will go to File and I'll choose Save Scene As. I'll paste our folder location. Of course, I'll rename this to plate number 4. And then I'll save it. After I save it to plate number 4, I'll just do the usual in-file backup procedure. So I'll just select this. I'll press W, just making sure I'm on the grid. Okay. And then I'll just drag this onto that other side. And then I will just, I'll just go to Combine. And then I'll rename it. Let's rename it to SG_03. So that's the third level of the modeling. And then I'll just duplicate it like this. And I'll type in 0 here, the x-axis. Next is I will select it and then I will separate it. Right? So after I have it separated, I'll switch to my tools settings, reset tool. So they all go back to the center of the object, and then I'll just go to my modify freeze transform so that the value remains 0 when I place it in the center. Next, I'll just select all of my objects again, raise them up a little. And after I have done that, next thing I will do is I'll go to Edit, delete all by type history. So all the histories have been gone. Now I will select these backups, Control H. I'll hide that, and then I'll select this and I'll do once more here. I'll just select and drag it up. There. Then I can select these subgroups and start deleting them. Okay, so now I will be working on this object. So let's say I will need to separate this portion here on top. Okay, so what do I do? What I'll do is I'll just hold Shift and drag. So this means I'm going to duplicate this so that I will not mess up, for example, the new main object. I'll just select that, and then I'll just go to Control H and hide them. Next thing I'll do is I'll select this, and then I will first use my polygon selection, and then I will start let's say selecting all of this. Oops, Shift Control. That's to select all of it. Okay, and then I will just let me go back here. After I have selected all of these polygons, I will just deselect those that I don't need. I'll deselect this, and then I'll deselect this portion here. There. So after I've deselected that, I'll go to the front view here, and in the front view I can select or deselect that portion there, here, there. So that's the top half portion. It's a bit too much, so I'll just select there, okay? And then afterwards, I have those things selected. Let's say I do not need this that much, there. I don't also need this. I only need the end frame here, there. And then I'll need an end frame here. There. Okay, so let's say I can work with that. So what I will do next is I can now, aside from the edit mesh and duplicate, I can try extract. So if I have extracted that, I'll switch to the Q or selection tool. I'll go to the move tool, and then there it is. Now if I press W, let's go to select, just keeping the reset tool up to date, there. So now, as you can see, after the extract, these are already separated objects. So now I can quickly delete this. Now I have this. Okay, so what I will do with this frame is I will try to have it or get it thickened. So I can select polygon selection, and then let's say I'll deselect some portions. For example, here at the top, I'll just deselect some portions here. There. So let's say those are the things that we don't want yet. Example here, until there. That's what we don't need for now. Okay, so now that I have that, I can try this first. I will try to detach or separate them. It doesn't work. Going back to polygon selection, I'll just go here and do an edit mesh and I can do a detach. So after I have detach, I will do a separate. So now they are also separated. So it's like an extract command, but it has that extra step. So now I'll go back to the polygon selection. Let's say let's combine this two there, and then I would just like to do an extrude, a quick extrude with a thickness of, let's say, 0.01. So there's the thickness. And now it is really a thick polygon, right? So next thing I'll do is this. I can switch to the polygon selection here, and then I'll start deleting this. I'll start deleting this. There it is. Now, what I can do is I can switch here. The edge selection, I can double click and a loop selection will happen. I'll hold control on this end, I'll hold control on the other end. So what will happen here is I'll just do another bridge. Q there. Next, I'll do the same on the other side. So I'll just go back to polygon selection, delete this, right? Also have this covered, so it's the same. These are similar tools that we have been using since last week, so there. So the next thing is we need polygon so that this can bridge through that. So what I will do is I'll go to multicut tool. I'll just do a multicut as such. there. The same thing I will do with this rear part. I'll hold control and it will loop as such, clicking it there. Okay, so the next is I'll just go back to Q selection, then switch to polygon selection. I'll select this polygon and hold shift and select the other one. Oops, I forgot, we need to first have them combined. Selecting all of them, use combine, pressing Q for selection, and then I'll immediately go to the polygon, selecting this and selecting this, and then I'll just use the bridge. So now they're solid together. I'll do the same on the other side. Select bridge, Q there, and then on to the other side also. Let's just select, oops, I'll select this and the opposite. Bridge, I'll do the same. Select bridge, Q, and then I'll press W, double click, or at least click this and this. No, I'll control click to have the vertices selected, because this time what I'll do is I'll do an edge slide going up so that it slides a bit, going up, right? Let's, why does it not go up? Let's try to switch to edge loops. Yeah, so now it's better. Oops, upper is not lifting that much. Okay, yeah, they're not even. Okay, that's fine. They're not even. Let's just do it separately then. A little eyeballing on this. So now I'll just drag this up. Oops, I'll hold control and click vertices. I'll select these so that the vertex glides on. Transform constraint is on edge slide, sorry. There, so now I'll just select this. It's not sliding together. Let's try surface slide. There, so now it is sliding onto that direction. It's a bit hard. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just drag it straight up there. Okay, that will be fine for now. Next, so now that I have this, okay, so how do I place this to an existing design? Okay, for example, if I have had it separated from my other object, oops, sorry, why did I turn them on? Okay, so now I'll select my original object, so I need to place it here. Okay, so here at least what I can do is I can now delete the polygons that I don't need for this part, right? So I can Q, double click this, select the loop of it, delete, and then double click this, delete. As easy as that. The same case here, I can double click that and delete, delete. So now I can just easily select this loop, deselect the sides, and then bridge. Yeah, it's fast to repair. That's why it's easy to choose. So I'll select this, select this, then just do a bridge, Q, and it's done. So now, how do I precisely fit this onto this object? If I type 0, will that fit? We don't really know. So this is the best thing that you can do to fit this. Let's say I'll just drag this a little nearer. So what you can do here to fit it onto your object is, again, our snaps, just to review. So I will first press D. After I press D, this gizmo is now movable, right? There. Next is, since I have the gizmo now on my side, I'll just turn on the vertex snap, drag it there to that corner, because that's going to be where my anchor point will be. Then I'll press D to activate it, and since the snap is on, now I can easily drag this to this corner where it was originally placed, and now I have this there. Okay, there. I have that, and pressing Q, and I'll turn off the snap. So now I was able to place this precisely on top of that, right? So now I can delete those extra edge polygons, no, later on. But the next topic is the smoothening, as we have discussed. So for example, we have created an add-on such as this. So how do I add the smoothening? So the smoothening procedure, as we have discussed, is that we will do for now is like this. So let me just return or reset the tool back to its center or object center. That. So what I'll do is I'll just select, hold shift, and have this duplicated. Okay, saving the work. And then I'll just hold shift and duplicate the other one. So this is mainly for the purpose of showing you how the smooth works, or how the smoothening is done. So I'll just select this, and then I'll Control H and hide them. There. So now I'll select this too. Okay, so what I'll do is, in Maya, there is this smooth preview, pressing 3. So that is the smooth preview of the object. As you can see, it is very muchly deformed. So in the smoothening process, this is what you will do. Let's select this other object here. So instead of smoothing or viewing it in number 3, which is the smooth preview, let's put it in number 2. The number 2 preview will include this cage mesh. The cage mesh is your original, this is your original mesh status, or the original mesh count, or your original object to start with. So now what I will do here is add the support loops. How do we add the support loops? Turn on your edge and the selection constraint, and I'll turn on edge ring. So in edge ring, what will happen is if I hover on an edge, the ring will appear or preview. So I'll just select one, hold shift, and click. So all of those are selected now. Pressing Q. Next is, after I have selected those loops, what will happen next is I will go to my connect, set the connections to 2. So we will have 2 connections. And then I will increase the pinch size to, let's say, 1.75. There. So this means that the support loops that we have created are very near our forming edge, which is also protecting them from being deformed by the smoothening. So that's why you call it support loops. The forming edges are protected from the deformation of the smoothening command. So after that, let's say I will do go back to the selection tool, and there. So as you can see, the preview, it's different now. Pressing number 3 and deselecting. There. Here, there. So as you can see, it starts to clear what it should be looking like. So again, I'll just press 2, and then while the edge ring is on, I will further add some connections here. I'll just go to edges, there's the loop, I'll do a connect. So let's say I have that again, so I will just choose move to selection tool. So the good thing about the connect is it is saving your last setting, so it follows. So here also I'll hold shift, and do a connect. 2 connections are present. Press Q, there. Now next is this middle portion. I'll just select that and do another connect. There. Pressing Q. So there it is. So now I have achieved that corner for the object. I will also go here at the bottom sides. So you can see the corners are turning round. So again, I'll select that. I'll do a connect. So the connection settings is being well followed. There. And then I can select these. I can do a connect. Press Q. There. So it also starts to straighten. And then here I can select this one, and also I can select this one, and then I can do a connect. Press Q. There. So it starts to sharpen also. I can adjust the vertices if I need to. For example, here, right, the vertex. There. I'll press W, and then I will carefully drag this towards here, so that this, oops, sorry, the edge slide is on. I'll just off, so that this may be pushed onto that. Okay. And then I'll just press 1. Okay. And then I'll just push it a bit. Yeah. Now, if I go for number 2 preview, so it starts there, right? Okay, so it starts to get hardened. So this part naman, I'll just repeat the things that I've done. So edge ring is on. And then I'll just click connect Q, right? Click connect, and then Q. So it's getting there. Selecting this, connect Q, okay, and then the sides, Q, and then this one is done. Yeah, they have that. Okay, pressing QW, turning it off. So far, there it is. Now please be reminded that this is just in support loops mode, or sorry, number 2, shades and preview mode. Diba? It's not yet like this that are already in number 3. This is still in number 1, but we have added, we have added all of the, for example, we have added all of the support loops. Okay? So what happens next? So what will happen next if you are done? Oops, not yet done. So let me just turn on the edge selection, and this here, I'll do a connect. Q. So there. Did it run onto the side? This one, and then I'll do a connect. Q. There's the connection. Okay. So now, yeah, I think I doubled it there. Just checking. Okay, so now we have our support loops added. So the next thing is, I will save this. The next thing that I will do is, I will now actually smoothen it by clicking the smooth. And then let's say, let's set this to 2. There. And then I'll just press Q. And then there it is. There is your smoothened object. Now as you can see, your smoothened object, this is in view or preview 1. So this is the actual polygon. But look at how smooth the object is. Okay, compared to, look how this preview is showing. But let's turn it off. Let's switch to 1. Okay. But now let's try adding a smooth onto the object without, right, without creating the support loops. So look what happens, right? So look what you end up with. So that's how you create your details. Your details can come from your object, and then how you can add the support loops onto them. Okay, so I'll see you on the next lesson.